Guys, there's going to be a few videos of me in the hospital, so bear with me. I will be back to my normal studio setup soon, but right now I'm in the hospital. Look at me, man, I'm all dressed up. It was Halloween yesterday and I had my gums, my hospital gums, and I was thinking, but yeah. What am I doing? Let's get to the video. Today we are going to be reacting to the downfall of TV talent shows. Video by Knowledge.
If I ask you to name the last winner of the X Factor or American Idol, could you do it? For the last 2 decades, talent shows have conquered television across the globe. The Got Talent franchise has resulted in 60 different countries hosting their own versions. And shows like American Idol and the X Factor were responsible for birthing some of the most famous pop stars of the 21st century. But today, many of these shows have been cancelled, and the ones that haven't been cancelled are pulling in viewership figures tens of millions below their peak. In the late 90s.
Hey, that's sad, you know. Because these talent shows, they were like staples of man's childhood. And that's how you know I'm emerging into unk status, because this was like the pinnacle of British TV shows, you know what I mean? And British entertainment. Them talent shows used to be lit, especially with Simon Cowell, X Factor, Britain's Got Talent. But he's actually right. I genuinely can't remember a time or the last time somebody has, do you know what I mean, has won.
In early 2000s, reality TV was only just starting to explode. Shows like Survivor and Big Brother proved that millions of people
Big Brother. You should love that TV show.
would tune in just to watch normal people compete under pressure. But when it came to music, TV didn't really have a format that worked. Yeah, there were game shows with karaoke style performances and a few one-off specials, but nothing that could consistently create stars. The music industry was still dominated by record labels and radio, and if you wanted to make it big, you needed a record deal, not a TV appearance. Then, in 2001, the UK tested something new, Pop Idol. The idea was simple. Ordinary people audition in front of a panel of judges, the public votes by phone, and the winner gets a record deal. It was the first time viewers at home had real power in deciding who became famous, and it worked so well that it was replicated in America almost immediately. In 2002, American Idol premiered, and Kelly Clarkson, the first winner, went from waitress to superstar in less than a year. It proved the formula worked. Talent shows could create real stars. A few years later, Simon Cowell left Pop Idol to create the X Factor UK, giving judges more control and turning them into mentors for different categories. One for the boys, one for the girls, one for the groups, and one for the oldies. It made the show much more theatrical. There were backstories for the contestants and higher production performances. In 2006, he expanded his empire with Got Talent. The first version launched in America, and it was a hit from the start. The format was genius because it widened the field. This wasn't just about singers anymore, it was about any kind of performance. Dance crews, magicians, comedians, anything goes. In 2007, Britain's Got Talent premiered, and that's where the format really blew up. The magic of Got Talent was that it felt unpredictable. You never knew what was going to be next. In walks a 91-year-old woman, and all of a sudden she's doing gymnastics. Next thing you know, some tubby kid comes on stage.
Iconic. Britain's Got Talent. Iconic. Pinnacle of British TV.
And starts singing like Adele, combined with the X Factor dominating the music side. Simon Cowell's shows basically owned reality TV in the 2000s. At the same time in America, American Idol was the biggest show on TV. At its peak, it was pulling in 30 million viewers a night. For 8 years straight, Idol was the most watched show in the USA, and the winners...
I did not know she was on American Idol. But again, she is legendary.
Were real stars. Kelly Clarkson, Carrie Underwood, Fantasia Barrino, even the runners-up like Jennifer Hudson or Adam Lambert went on to be household names. Back across the pond, the X Factor UK had taken the formula to another level. Audiences were actually invested in these singers from their auditions to the live shows because they were just regular people hungry to make it. And like American Idol, the music actually sold. 2006 winner Leona Lewis had a worldwide #1 with Bleeding Love. 2008 winner Alexandra Burke broke records. In 2010, 5 teenage boys who failed as solo contestants were put together into a group and finished third. Unless you live under a rock, One Direction went on to become the biggest boy band in the world.
How can that? Man said One Direction, formed by these lot, became the biggest band in the world, despite coming third. Iconic.
And they didn't even win the show. Every weekend, with no Netflix and not much social media or YouTube existing, it was tradition for many households.
This was lovely times, man. People would look in at the same time, watch the same TV show. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't on demand. It wasn't swipe, brain rot. You know what I'm saying?
Across the country to sit down together on a Friday and Saturday night and watch these shows week in, week out. The 2010 final, when Matt Cardle beat out One Direction, had nearly a third of the country tuning in. Meanwhile, Britain's Got Talent gave one of the most famous auditions ever in 2009 with Susan Boyle, a 47-year-old woman from Scotland who walked on stage, got laughed at by the audience, and then completely shocked everyone with her voice. That audition racked up 250 million views on YouTube at a time when YouTube itself was only a few years old. Her debut album became the best-selling album in the world that year, outselling Lady Gaga and Eminem. And Diversity's victory that same season showed that even dance crews could headline tours and win over mainstream audiences. Now, I'll refer to the American and the UK versions most in this video because they saw the most success. But by 2010, talent shows had spread worldwide, from Australia to Azerbaijan.
I saw Nigeria. Nigerian Got Talent, bro. If you guys ain't seen that, it's hilarious. I might even react to it.
Even new formats were exploding. The Voice premiered in the US in 2011 to nearly 12 million viewers, and it instantly positioned itself as Idol's younger, fresher competitor. The X Factor UK peaked from 2008 to 2011 every year with over 10 million average viewers per episode, and acts like JLS, Ollie Murs, One Direction, Little Mix, James R.
All of them iconic celebrities. I didn't even know like this. The X Factor on British Got Talent. Them man really made a whole. They really was really good at scouting talent.
All becoming massive pop stars, all in consecutive years. Britain's Got Talent also pulled in over 10 million average viewers for 5 years at the same time. After 2010, American Idol's viewership would drop by 20 million following Simon Cowell's exit, as he focused on bringing the X Factor to the USA. But after only 3 seasons, X Factor USA would be cancelled after Fox couldn't justify the cost for the viewership they were getting. Cowell came back to the UK to judge on the UK X Factor, but that show would also face a similar fate, with its final series being in 2018. X Factor viewership had dropped from 14 million in 2010 to not even 6 million only 8 years later. But viewership wouldn't be the only reason that X Factor got.
But if you look at that chart, that's not that bad. It is bad, yeah, because it's declined more than the start. However, doesn't mean it's going to go all the way down. It's at its all-time low, yes. But who knows, man? They could have transformed it. They could have modernized it. Could have put it on like YouTube, made it a platform, you know?
Only 8 years later. But viewership wouldn't be the only reason that X Factor got cancelled. Critics and viewers noted that the format had become repetitive and predictable, and the inclusion of joke acts contributed to a sense of fatigue among the audience. And it was true. A show about singers singing can only go on for so long before it starts to feel repetitive. As the years went on, it was like new contestants were trying to replicate what contestants in the past had already done. It also struggled as social media and YouTube grew in popularity. Simon Cowell named it one of the main reasons for the show's cancellation, stating the audience were now watching clips online rather than tuning into the episodes themselves. But undoubtedly the biggest reason for X Factor's demise was the countless controversies about the treatment of contestants and overall fakeness of the show. Little Mix member Jay Thirlwall stated, "I don't know anyone that's come off that show and not had some sort of mental health issue on the back of it, but also even now personally I'm conflicted criticizing it because it changed my life." The most famous example of poor contestant treatment on the X Factor is Zoe Alexander. Zoe was a contestant in 2012 who was working as a Pink tribute artist. She wanted to branch out and become her own artist, but after manipulating producers insisted that she performed a Pink song, she gave in and did what they asked, only for the judges to turn around and question why she's trying to be Pink. And with some classic X Factor editing, making her look like a psycho, she was public enemy #1. It was only years later when she revealed the truth on her YouTube that people saw the true colours of the X Factor.
I actually quite liked your image when you came out, and then when you told me about Pink, I realised, okay, you based it on Pink. This is what
No, I didn't base it on Pink.
Oh, you didn't?
No, I'm trying to get away from the Pink thing.
Sorry, it's a no for now.
You told me to sing a Pink song. I didn't want to sing a Pink song.
Once I was in the hot seat to be interviewed, all he wanted to talk about was Pink.
The list of X Factor controversies is so long that it might as well be a video on its own, so if you'd like to see that, make sure you subscribe to the channel below. It's completely free, it will help me out a lot, and I drop videos just like this every week, so make sure you subscribe below. Now, for a lot of people, me included, the fakeness of X Factor was obvious for years. The X Factor was great to watch as a kid, weeks of people embarrassing themselves on TV, but after 2010 the chance of getting a career was minimal. The editing, audience laughing, applause and fake reactions of the judges just never felt natural, and that's because it wasn't. Moments were edited with judges' reactions from completely different segments of filming just to fuel a certain storyline. X Factor wasn't about singers anymore, it was about characters, and musicians weren't happy either. Calvin Harris said it had put music back decades, while Noel Gallagher had other words to say.
It's not really about the music, is it? You know, people from Bradford singing in American accents is not really what it's all about. It's in a word, isn't it, to be honest, you know. But it's kind of who's got the biggest sob story this year, isn't it? You know, oh, my fucking cat died, and in his outstretched paw was pointing at the letter X on Pools Cooping. So I've come here today, Simon. Come here today, I'm going to sing What's New Pussycat.
But while X Factor crashed and crumbled, the other talent shows continued to air year on year. America's Got Talent is still running today and has more recently produced superstars than the UK. Grace Van Der Wall, who won in 2016, became a megastar at only 12 years old, and Shin Lim, a magician who won in 2018, has toured globally on major stages. But since 2020, every show mentioned has struggled to create a superstar, and it's struggled to keep viewership high. Not only is the format boring, but the need for a show like this in the present day just isn't there anymore. Before the internet, American Idol and the X Factor was your way of putting yourself on show to the biggest audience in the world. But
nowadays we got too many options, and that's why a lot of things in the entertainment industry are just all being consumed and swept away because of brain rot, TikTok, attention grabbing, AI. Do you know what I mean? So all the like authentic stuff is all going. And my prediction is that AI is gonna basically control social media, not control it, but actually have it as its primary. Do you know what I mean? AI is going to be its primary. Like, you're going to see AI clips everywhere. You know, you're barely going to see human videos, and social media ain't going to be as social anymore.
come to 2025, you can find the audience yourself if you have the talent for it, and that's exactly what Benson Boone did. In early 2021, Benson Boone auditioned for season 19 of American Idol. However, after making it into the top 24 contestants, he withdrew voluntarily, later stating he didn't want people to be like, "Oh, Benson Boone, American Idol blew him up, that's where I know him from." And although he didn't stay on American Idol, he used that early exposure as a springboard for the rest of his career. Soon after, he gained a following on TikTok, posting snippets of his music and covers, which helped him get noticed, signed to a record label, and reach heights he likely may have never reached if he stayed on American Idol. This is really the only way I see talent shows being used going forward, because even in their prime, winning the show didn't technically mean you won overall. In fact, it might have just added more baggage than finishing second or third place. And in the current climate, they're boring, they're repetitive, and they're fake. So with all that said, why are the Got Talent shows still running in the UK and America? The Got Talent shows have a huge advantage: variety. They're not just about singers. They can feature any act, and that unpredictability keeps things fresh. You never know what's going to happen when someone walks on stage. And because the show is built around spectacle, the bar for success is lower. A winner doesn't need to be a chart-topping musician. All they need to do is put on a good show. Another key difference is that the Got Talent shows are family entertainment, whereas X Factor was more music industry entertainment. Families could watch a dance group or magician together on Got Talent, while X Factor relied on people emotionally investing in one contestant's journey to pop stardom. As soon as viewers stopped believing those contestants could succeed outside the show, the magic of the show was gone. I'm not much a fan of the Got Talent series myself anymore, but I can still see a place for them on TV, where hopefully families with young kids can try and relive that experience that I had when I was a kid, with all the family sat in the living room all watching one show together, rather than them being trapped in different rooms all across the house, all watching their own individual screens. Because the newer generations do miss out on this family time, and the shows are trying to target this younger audience too. Britain's Got Talent revealed YouTuber KSI as a guest judge in 2025, and in 2026 he will be a permanent judge on the show. Both the US and UK shows currently average between 5 to 6 million viewers an episode. Respectable numbers given the current climate
Could given again
of streaming websites and YouTube, and enough for TV networks to keep them on air. But again, when was the last time a winner broke out into the mainstream culture? In the late 2000s, these shows ran the culture of the country. You talk about the auditions at work or school, and they dominated the news. Now, it's just another option on TV for the people who still watch it, and part of its fragmentation. The media is spread thin now. Everyone has their own feeds watching completely different content across a range of sites and networks, or keeping themselves busy in other ways. At the peak of these shows, you couldn't just hop onto Netflix to watch what you really felt like watching, so instead, you'd watch a talent show. So while Got Talent, The Voice, American Idol and so on might keep their place as light family entertainment, they'll never be the cultural powerhouse that they once were, and they'll never produce superstars like they once did. The era of TV talent shows shaping the mainstream is over, and there is nothing that can bring that back.
I can't lie, guys. That is so interesting. Like, I would never really think that. Do you know what I mean? I never would really think of, oh, how's American Idol? How's Britain's Got Talent? But I didn't even know they were still running today. And KSI is going to be a judge. But it's very, very true, man. Like, I was so invested in there. Sorry, I was just watching, but it's so true. They're never going to be the powerhouse that it was. And that's like most things in the industry. They have their high, their peak, and then they go back down, and then it's on to the next. For the next of us, it's just going to be AI.